Hi, my name is Kevin Strauss, and I'm a 24-year injury-free Ironman triathlete and coach. And I wanted to share with you today what I ate during my first triathlon, my first Ironman triathlon back in 2012, because I see a lot of questions online about what to eat and what's your race day nutrition. There's a lot of videos about what to eat during training and everything, but I couldn't really find many about race day nutrition. And my race day nutrition was actually very different than what most people and what most of the recommendations revolve around. And I think a lot of that is because so many people are training in a very sugar intensive heart rate zone, so very high heart rate zone. So they're burning sugar more than burning fat as their primary fuel. And my training was really around primarily burning fat as my primary fuel. So this is a lot of information here, but I really want to give you the extreme detail of absolutely everything I ate before and during my Ironman triathlon, Ironman Florida in 2012. And just so you know, I finished that Ironman in 12 hours, 17 minutes, and 18 seconds. And I had a total calorie intake, including pre-race intake, of about 2,100 calories, which seems like almost nothing compared to what most people are doing. But I just want to show that it is possible. Everybody's different, but it is possible to eat very few calories and still have all the energy you need. I think a lot of reason why so many people are focusing so high in sugar content and the quick, fast-acting carb content is because they're training in a very sugar adaptive environment rather than a fat adaptive environment. And when you train otherwise for fat burning, you can still do a pretty quick race, definitely faster than average, by not eating so much fuel and not risking all of that GI distress and not risking bonking or hitting that glycogen depletion or blood glucose lows that can cause a lot of problems in triathlon or in any endurance sport, really. So a real quick breakdown is I had about 2,100 calories for the whole day, which turned out to be somewhere in the 430 grams of carbs with about 180 grams of sugar, about 48 grams of protein, and 36 grams of fat for the whole day. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you. The night before, I don't even remember what I ate for dinner the night before. It was probably a hamburger and fries. Nothing fancy, definitely no carbo loading. That's really a myth. I know a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, but that really is a myth if you've been training properly, and any normal meal is going to top off your glycogen stores just fine. Your body knows how to do that. So for me, and what I've been doing for so many years, even before Ironman, is my pre-race meal is a Cliff Bar. Cool Mint is my favorite. It still is today. Kind of addicted to them. So a Cool Mint Cliff Bar and a liter of Cytomax. I no longer use Cytomax. I haven't for years because it's heavily on the fructose side, which is just terrible for you, but that's what I drank back in the day. So before Ironman, I woke up my normal amount of time I needed. I didn't have to wake up early to get a pre-race meal 3 to 4 hours ahead of time. Again, that's when you're not training optimally, then that's kind of what's recommended. But if you have trained correctly and you're used to burning fat as your primary fuel, you don't have to eat much beforehand. I've done many half Ironman and half marathons and marathons starting in a fasted state. I do eat during the event, but I start in a fasted state. And that's possible if you're truly fat adapted. And I'm not talking about intermittent fasting or anything. I'm just talking about how you train in that fat burning zone like the whole time. And you can still go fast in a fat burning zone if you train that way properly. Okay, so let's really break it down. So pre-race, about an hour and a half before the start of the event, I'd have a Cliff Bar and a liter of Cytomax. On Ironman day, I actually had 1.5 liters of Cytomax, but it's at half strength because, again, it's too syrupy for me if I use full strength. Okay, during the swim, it's 2 laps for Ironman Florida. and I didn't eat anything during the swim. I did drink water a little bit um, during between the two laps, but that's it. Okay, so no food during the swim. In T1, I had one Cliff Bar and 20 ounces of Hammer Heed, which is sport drink by Hammer Nutrition, and that was at full strength basically, and that's what I ate and drank during T1. Okay, then right into the bike. So on the bike, I basically didn't eat anything for the first half of the bike. I didn't even feel the need to pick up my bike special needs bag. So during the whole bike, I had one Cliff Bar, two Hammer Solids, not two portions, but just two Hammer Solids, which is about 66 calories, mostly carbs, one bottle of Heed, and 4 bottles of water. So my bike ride took about 5.5 hours, and I drank about one 24-ounce bottle of fluid per hour. And I actually peed 5 times on the bike. So I peed once an hour. And for me, that's fantastic. Okay, then we get into T2. So I had another Cliff Bar in T2 and 20 ounces of Gatorade, regular full strength Gatorade 20-ounce bottle. That was terrible. I'm done. After that, I was done with Gatorade. Way too sweet, way too sugary. I haven't had Gatorade since, actually. And I'm not talking about my water and my electrolyte replacements throughout, because those are not actually calories, but I did use Hammer Endurolites throughout the entire day. I drank water, obviously, throughout the day as well. So T2 was a Cliff Bar and 20 ounces of Gatorade. Then on the run, I had, and this included in my run special needs bag, I had another 20-ounce bottle of Gatorade. I had, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 little combos cheese crackers. I really found that I love combos as a snack. They really fill my belly nicely. So I put that in my special needs bag. So I had, 10 to 15 little combos crackers. I had one cookie, from an aid station. I had about 3 or 4 little pretzels in the aid station, and I had 1 cup of chicken broth that they hand out at Ironman. And at mile 20, I had one Hammer gel, and then I drank water, throughout, but not enough water because, to be perfectly honest, I only peed 1 time during the marathon, which is way low for me. And I definitely got dehydrated through the run. I could tell as I was finishing the first half of the marathon that I was getting dehydrated. I could tell in my leg muscles, but I kept on going, of course. So that's really that's everything that I ate the entire day. And again, it was about 2,100 calories. I never had any energy problems, no blood sugar problems, no bonking issues. I had full energy the whole time. I finished in a really good time, for my first Ironman. I was very pleased with that anyway. It just goes to show that you don't have to pound all these calories, all this sugar, which can cause so much GI distress and other problems. And being susceptible to bonking because you're so reliant on sugar. Taking a gel every 30 to 45 minutes is really tough on your digestive system. So that's what I did. That's one way of fueling for an Ironman triathlon or other endurance event. And I encourage you to think about how you're training. Are you training in a really high heart rate all the time where you will need more sugar because that's what you're burning and using as fuel? Or are you training in a lower heart rate zone, but maybe pushing right up against that zone 3 for most all of your training, and you can still go pretty quick? I mean, I average about 20 miles an hour on the bike ride, which is pretty solid time, pretty solid pace for a 112-mile bike. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you another idea of how you might be able to fuel for these very long endurance events, and especially for an Ironman Triathlon 140.6. So I hope that's helpful. Until next time, peace, love, and connect.